Right before we start, I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in. And I wanted to mention once again that we're going to have a fantastic guest today, so stay tuned.
Hi, Gleb. How are you? Sorry for my voice. It's a little weird today. How is the community going? We are starting another Zerion Connect today, a weekly call whose objective is to bring the community together to talk about anything related to Zerion and Web3 in general. It has become a weekly habit, a good habit. Seeing many familiar faces across every call feels like really nice, right?
True that. We really are doing the community together, and it's really cool.
Yeah, today's edition is a very interesting one. So we have seen Web3 going beyond Ethereum borders and become multi-chain. This means users can now opt for different chains to perform actions depending on what they want or what they are looking for. Fastest transactions, cheapest, secure, etc. But it's not that easy to go from one chain to another. This is where our guest today and his team jumps in. Varun, I hope I'm saying it well, is working at Socket, our partner that helps aggregate the best options when you are about to do a bridge transaction through Zerion. Also, as every week, we invite you to participate through the thread that we have under the events channel or by joining us on the stage for the AMA segment. Today's thread is called Zerion Connect 15 Socket Bridging. So I'm posting the link on the events channel again, so it's easier for you to find it. Please do not start commenting on older threads. And also about the POAP, for people that were present last week, the POAP is already, ready to claim. We will also have a POAP today that we will let you know how to claim it by the end of the call. So I will expand on this more by the end of the call. Okay, I will pass the mic to Gleb and we can start with this new edition.
Awesome, thanks a lot for the intro now, and welcome to the stage, Varun. It's really nice to see you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Awesome. So, could you maybe start by telling us a bit about what Socket does, what bridge aggregation is, what its main benefits are? Because I'm sure like most people know about it, but still there might be some newcomers who would appreciate an intro.
Yeah, for sure. So at Socket, what we're doing is we're building an interop stack to enable developers to take their apps multi-chain really easily. So we have like two parts to our product. The first is the DEX and bridge aggregator, which is called the liquidity layer. So this basically enables transfer of assets across chains. The liquidity layer basically powers the bridges in a lot of big apps like Zerion. The second one is the data layer. Now this is under development, but what this will enable is essentially for contracts across various chains to talk to each other. So imagine use cases such as cross-chain lending, where a user has collateral on chain A, they can borrow on chain B and repay that on chain C, right? Just because all of these contracts can talk to each other. So that's a bit about what Socket does. Now, the benefit of aggregation are like, as you said in the intro, users have like different preferences when they bridge. Some users might want the fastest bridge, others might want the cheapest bridge, others might prefer, trust minimized bridges. Now, with aggregation, instead of users, having to find out what are all the different bridges across the chains they want to bridge, compare these parameters. Instead of that, they can just go to a bridge aggregator, one of our bridge aggregators, like Bungee.exchange, and look at all the routes between these chains that they want to bridge, and choose the one which they prefer the most.
Yeah, that was a super clear explanation, and thanks for that. And what is the most exciting feature that Socket has recently shipped, Varun? Or that you are most excited about?
Sure. I think I'll talk about two that we shipped recently. So the first one was based on an insight that we got from talking to a lot of users. So bridging users, they complained about, like they bridge to a new chain, but they don't have the native token to transact on that chain. They don't have gas to pay for transactions on that chain, and they're essentially stuck on that chain. And then they have to search for faucets or use a centralized exchange to get native tokens in order to transact. So we launched something called Refuel. This is on bungee.exchange/refuel, which basically helps users exchange native tokens on one chain, get native tokens on any other chain. So for example, users can exchange Matic on Polygon, get say ETH on Optimism or Arbitrum, and just be able to transact. So we went live around like a month back. We've seen like very good traction. We've seen like more than 50,000 transactions since then on Refuel. So that's the first one. Another recent launch, which is sort of more focused towards developers, is the bridging widget that we launched. So from talking to a lot of app developers in the space, all of them want to enable bridging in their app, but they don't want users to leave their app and search for where they should bridge assets from, etc. So the bridging widget basically enables any app developer to integrate bridging in their app with just like a few lines of code, right? Copy paste our widget onto your app, customize colors, customize chains, tokens, etc., and you have like bridging good to go in like a few minutes, right? Yeah.
Wow, that's like super exciting and super fantastic. And I think it really shows how diverse Socket is when it comes to different technology and how kind of complicated but also complex and which is really cool. Speaking of cool and fun things, have there been any surprising learnings when it comes to how people use bridging?
Yeah. I mean, so one thing which was a bit surprising was so like I said, like we aggregate dexes and bridges. So basically, we allow users to swap and bridge in a single transaction. So with certain bridges, I mean, users are limited to the assets they support. But since we have a swap also linked in the same transaction, the supported assets can be anything. So for example, users can go from Aave, say on Polygon, to USDC on ETH in one transaction. So one thing which was surprising was the amount of traction that we got for a swap and bridge. So on chains like Polygon, for example, half of all our bridging transactions also involve a swap. So that was like quite surprising that the number is so high. And I think it just speaks to the fact that users value the convenience of using one interface and not having to search for, going to different dApps to do a swap first and then bridging after that. So yeah, so that was like one surprising learning.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Talking about you, I mean, you have been talking about what you have been working about, which are awesome features. But what about the coming updates that Socket has prepared?
Yeah, for sure. So with Bungee, which is our bridge aggregator, one thing that we're doing is we're thinking deeply about bridging UX and how we can improve that for users. So questions like what's a really great bridging UX? What does that look like? How do we enable that? So one thing we're working on is like a complete revamp of the UX of bridging. Should be going live in the next few months. Hope to get like a lot of feedback from users and iteratively improve upon that. The other one is Refuel, like I spoke about, where users can get gas. What we're doing now is we're integrating Refuel into our APIs and into Bungee. So users in one transaction, they can not just swap and bridge, but they can also get gas. So for example, if you're bridging to a new chain, you can do one transaction, swap, bridge, go to a new chain, and also get some gas by Refuel, right? All in one transaction. Which I think is a big jump in UX. Another one, which is just spoke about in the intro, is like the data layer. So the data layer will basically allow contracts to communicate across chains. So for example, imagine a lending protocol where your collateral is on ETH. You can borrow using that collateral on any other chain, right? You can borrow on Arbitrum, you can transact on Arbitrum, you can repay that on Optimism. That is, all of that will be enabled via the data layer, and that should also be going live in the next few months.
Wow, this is like super amazing. I really hope we can integrate it as quickly as possible once those updates are live. And yeah, and also like I have like a more general question. Would love to hear your perspective on it. So essentially, how important is it to have easily accessible bridging for multi-chain trading and portfolio management, especially considering all that the things that you've mentioned so far today?
Yeah, for sure. I think we just, in fact, published a case study of the Socket and Zerion partnership, which talks about just this. But to recap some of that, like with so much of the activity happening across chains today, it's like really important for apps to have like easily accessible bridging, just so users can access these different ecosystems, right? Um, so the Zerion bridge, like I mentioned, is a really good example of this. In the future, there's like a lot of other multi-chain use cases also that we hope to enable, like the cross-chain collateral that I spoke about earlier, or even say like a cross-chain yield farm. So a user might be on Polygon, they do like one transaction, and they are able to access any yield on any different chain, right? So those are some of the things which I think will enable and make cross-chain more accessible for users. But definitely, check out the case study that's on our Twitter. It talks about this in much more detail.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. Please go and check out the article and the Twitter threads, if it's the Twitter thread, to learn more. And thank you so much, Varun, for taking the time to come to our call today. Is there anything else you would like to tell our community? Any shout outs? Anything you want to tell? Please go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Check out Bungee.exchange. Come on our Discord. Give us feedback. We're always looking to improve. So we'd love to hear from you.
That's great, Varun. I really liked your chat. It's a question from the community actually. How difficult is to have a bridge to Solana, or is it planned at some point? We have been tracking Solana assets for quite some time now, and the community there is excited to hear about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Solana is definitely high on our roadmap priority as well. We're working on adding support. So support for Solana, for the Cosmos ecosystem, all coming soon.
Nice. Super nice to hear that. Gleb, do you have any other questions maybe from the community that were shared during the talk?
I don't see anything that hasn't been covered yet. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Socket team for announcing the call on their Discord and for also being present today. And thank you all so much. And from what I see in the thread right now, people love Socket and people love Vision, which is amazing.
Many people were not knowing that they were using Socket in the back. So now they know, and yeah, it was really nice. We learned a lot. You are more than welcome in the future when you release new features, so you can share them with our community, with the Ethereum community. I mean, so yeah, Varun, thanks a lot for this chat today with us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Bye.
See ya.
All right, everyone. If you thought that this is all for today, it's not all for today. We've got some traditional segments such as ecosystem news and our own updates, which we are going to cover in a few seconds.
Yeah, we had to do some changes because Varun was short on time. So, but we have our regular updates. So, Gleb, I believe you will start with the product updates, right?
Yeah, that's right. And also, I actually really like this new channel because I think starting with guest segments is, I don't know, it feels refreshing. In any case, let's move on to our own updates. And what we have recently shipped. Essentially, these aren't the updates we shipped, I don't know, yesterday or anything like this. Is going to be a little amalgamation of everything we've been working on, but we thought it's important to just outline all these live product updates that we've recently developed and put out to ensure that everyone is aware of those. So first things first, you can now set NFTs as your avatar. If you go to the web app and then you click on your PFP in app.zero.io in our view tab, you can now select any of your NFTs and have it as an avatar. I think you'll need to sign a message to prove that it's yours, and then you're good to go. Also, make sure you set your DNAs as avatars because, well, that's what they were made for. Another update that we recently shipped is that you can search for any address or ENS and add it to your watch list really easily and quickly. Because before, if you wanted to do this, you would need to go and add a wallet to the watch list, and that was a bit complicated. Now it can be done through the overview tab. It can be done in a couple of clicks, which is really fantastic. Also, now feel free to interrupt me if you want to add anything to these updates, because I know it's a comprehensive, and I'm just trying to give the general here.
I mean, we should also think of adding support for other domains. I mean, we are currently you can currently track your ENS domains, but while in Barcelona, I saw a project that is working on another type of domains like .ape, .human. So it would be really nice to have them integrated through Zerion, so you can easily track any domain or any address as fast as possible, as easily as possible. So yeah.
So ideally, we would like to cover most, if not all, of the available domains, specifically because from what I understood, I also talked to these folks, and I think they told me that they not only do they have these domains, you can actually build using these domains. So you can build maybe even a custom Web3 platform using these. So yeah, definitely introducing more domains to Zerion would be really cool. Speaking of cool things, we got multichain trading for Ledger available on iOS. So if you got a Ledger, make sure you connect it to our iOS app, and you can now explore everything that we have to offer when it comes to multi-chain trading straight through the app, which is really fantastic, and which I think is a game changer because as I see, hardware wallets are extremely safe, but also they have been traditionally sometimes kind of difficult to use because you have to connect them to all these different apps, and then you have to ensure that your wallet is safe and it is at least compatible with what you're trying to connect it to. So we are really alleviating all these concerns, and if you connect your hardware wallet to Zerion, you can ensure that it's going to be compatible with whatever we have to offer, which really makes your experience a lot better. And another update we want to cover, we have added support for Exodus wallets. So if you're an Exodus wallet user, you can rejoice. You can now use your wallet with Zerion, which I mean is pretty cool as well because yes, we have Zerion wallet, but I think ideally would like to also not shy away from supporting other solutions if people really want to use them. Because again, ideally our goal is to ensure that whatever we do for the community. With that said, I think we can move on to the next part of the call now.
Okay, before I start, if any of you want to join us on stage, I will do the ecosystem updates, but you can start raising your hand, so you can join us on stage and then have a quick chat. Share your questions. I have already seen some interesting questions on the thread, so we will be answering them after this section. So yeah, happy to see you on stage, any of you. Regarding the ecosystem news of this week, we have seen some interesting stuff to share. Despite being in a bear market, crypto keeps getting adoption. So a report issued by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development has found that Venezuela ranks third among the countries with the most cryptocurrency adoption, only behind Russia and Ukraine. The report, which also deals with the causes of this growth, and crypto regulation found that 10.3% of citizens in Venezuela held cryptocurrencies. That's great. I mean, it's really interesting. Russians were second on the list with 11.9% of the population holding crypto, while Ukraine ranked first with 12.7% of its citizens holding some kind of crypto. This can be explained by the economic situations these countries are facing and the swings their currencies are experiencing due to the conflict. The report also shows that developing countries have been more receptive to the cryptocurrency proposition somehow. Of the first 20 countries with the most adoption, 15 are qualified as developing countries. So it's quite interesting to hear about these statistics. And yeah, I mean, crypto is being adopted worldwide, but there are some countries that really need an alternative to their current economic structures or situations. So crypto is being is standing an arm to help them and to overcome these very difficult situations they are facing. On the other hand, we have Gnosis Safe that have raised 100 million led by 1KX to unlock digital assets management and also announces a rebrand to Safe. So that chain was first XDAI, then Gnosis Safe, and it's now rebranded to Safe. Initially developed as an internal tool, Gnosis Safe has organically become critical infrastructure for Web3 as a means to securely manage digital assets. The funding is raised by the Safe Ecosystem Foundation, a nonprofit organization protecting strategic assets and contributing to the further development of Safe. Yeah, the funding round is an important milestone for the development of Safe as a programmable ownership platform, enable secure management of digital assets, data, and identity across DAOs, retail, and institutional users. The funding and strategic alliances will enable Safe to grow an ecosystem of applications and tools on top of its smart contract account protocol. So that's all for this week, which was really interesting. I believe we can start with the AMA, Gleb. I have seen some questions. We can.
Yep, let's do it.
Go through them.
Also, quick reminder, folks, if you want to ask a question, please ensure that you use the phrase just called Zerion Connect 15 socket bridging, and we have one of these every week because it's the best way to do this, and we can track the questions, and it's just super convenient for everyone involved. Oh, looks like we got someone on stage. Welcome, and feel free. Oh,
Nice.
no, they quit. Anyways, don't hesitate to join the stage. We really appreciate that. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of metaverse-related questions today, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And people asking us about plans. And I'll be honest, I actually I'm not aware of any plans to create a zero metaverse just yet. But what I think is true is that once something can be integrated and once we can make some metaverses or anything else similar with them accessible for Zerion, we'll focus on that because it is really priorities of a lot of projects who are working at Web3. And I think if the metaverses start developing, start emerging, it would be really cool to have them integrated to some extent or fully into Zerion. So stay tuned and also let us know if you are playing any metaverse games now, or if you're part of any metaverse communities such as Decentraland or any other ones. We'd love to learn more about those.
I see a question here that I have been seen during the last few days, weeks. Hafari is asking, I made several transactions, but my NFT color did not change. So what is the problem? I mean, it's not a problem. It's actually that you will see the changes after you make like a range, an amount of a deterministic amount of transactions. I mean, so there are different ranges where the attributes will be changing. For example, if you do 1 to 10 transactions, then that will be level 1. If you do 10 to 50 transactions, then it will be level 2, and you will see the change between those levels. So if it's not that if you don't see any changes after doing 1 or 2 actions, you can check, I mean, all of this information by going to Zerion.io/DNA. We explain there how exactly the attributes changes work. So if you have any doubts about that, feel free to share. But yeah, it's really important to understand how attributes will be changing across time. Also, what else do we have here?
I've seen some people say that they are here to learn and they don't have any questions, which I mean is pretty cool because one of our goals here is to spread some awareness about Web3 and just share all the good info that we have. So even if you don't have any questions, you are more than welcome at every single call that we are hosting. Just because, again, the educational side is definitely something that's important for us.
I'm also seeing a question from Varun 98 here. About some privacy concerns around the DNA role, showing the balance or the range of the balance of each wallet. We have changed that. We heard that there were some users concerned about that. So now DNA roles will have like a name, a description, but will not go more than that. So feel free to check now your DNA. You can hover over the icon and you will see that the name changed. So we are I mean constantly trying to think of what's best for the community, and this was an action to a request from you guys.
Yep, we really do listen to the community when it comes to different community specific or part specific or any ideas related, because I think it's the best way to develop anything, especially something like Web3.
Although we will have more, I mean, the user will be able to set some privacy parameters related to roles in the near future. We are talking and working with the Noble team, which are the ones that are behind the roles. So we will, as soon as we have news there, we will share with you on a Connect edition. So yeah. Okay. What else? Do we have? Do you have any other new question here?
It's not a question. People are asking about the collapse, and if you don't mind, I actually wanted to talk about what battle told me in Barcelona regarding the design. So what do you think of that? Shall we cover that a bit?
Yeah, I mean, we will have a pop today. Unfortunately, last edition, we weren't able to distribute the pop because, I mean, it's not an issue exactly on our end. It's because the POAP team is the curation team in POAP is having like a lot of work, so we didn't have the codes ready. So for people that were present on the last edition, you can now claim your POAP by going to by messaging DGenBot with GM. I mean, if you are not sure on how to do it, please go to the POAP claim channel. Same will happen with this edition. We will have a POAP. The bot is already running, but we will distribute it like in the next coming days. So please keep an eye on the POAP claim channel. We will let you know when it's available. And yeah, we're always thinking of better ways to to do this distribution. So if you guys know any other ideas or projects that you want us to check out, feel free to share them, so we can get better in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just a quick note: if you have been collecting our poems for quite a while, you get a collection. There's a little change in the way they look. So if you notice something, feel free to share with us, because actually, like when Pavel told me about this little change, I was surprised. I was wondering if anyone else can really see that before we like tell you that. It's nothing secret. It's just a little visual thing, and they sort of look different now. So I'm just wondering if anyone is going to notice that or not. Anyways, let us know once you claim the collapse, once that becomes available, what you think of the design, because, I think they look pretty cool. It would be nice to sort of see what the community's vision is on the direction we're taking.
Yeah, exactly. Pavel is the magician behind the pop-ups. As you have seen, we have like 3 pop-ups already that are kind of a neon edition. We will have probably 2 more, and then we will change to a new kind of series. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoy Pavel's work and how they look on pop-ups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, please let me share something before we end this. So we are approaching to the end of the call, guys. So let me share a reminder for those people that are using DNA, are fans of the DNA. So as you may know, we launched the DNA Challenge with a wonderful prize, which is a trip to the DevCon in Bogota, Colombia in October. So DevCon is the main gathering place for the entire Ethereum community. So you will see developers, designers, researchers, artists, and more. It welcomes. This is important because many people will doubt about going or not, because I'm not a developer or something, but it welcomes both experienced builders and newies alike. It's a great opportunity to get deeper in the Web3 space. I mean, as a way to simply learn more, or also if you are searching for your place in this industry. So Zerion will cover the winner's flight, hotel, and of course the tickets. Also, if you can't travel for whatever reason, we will send you the equivalent in ETH. But it's such a great opportunity. I mean, and it's so easy to participate. You need to post on Twitter your primary DNA with a link to Zerion profile, tag 2 Web3 friends, and add the hashtag Zerion DNA. It's that easy. You can find more information about this campaign on our blog. I will share the link on the chat right now. So yeah, I mean, it's such a great opportunity.
It totally is. And before we go, one last thing. If any of you are going to be at ECC in Paris, please let us know. We'd love to meet up with you, maybe organize something. Or if you will be representing any projects and you want to talk to our team members, please also let us know, because we would love to hang out with you and just to love to go to the conference and see the community. If you're there, please let us know.
Okay, so to repeat once again, please keep an eye on the channel POA Claim in the coming days. I will publish a new message there, similar to the one I published yesterday. Once it's available to claim, simply follow the instructions that are in the message in the same channel. Remember that you will be eligible if you were present for most of the call. So this means that you can't be different or jumping onto other calls. So that's all. We hope you have enjoyed this Zerion Connect, and we will see you next week. Big hug for everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you all. See you next week.
Bye.